Hi everyone, this is Meir, sitting behind the microphone and thinking of where the world is. People always think about the major diseases that kill people, that destroy people's lives. And unfortunately they exist, and I'm serving many people with those diseases. But let's think about our common problem, back pain. So many people have back pain. Even people with great disability, a back pain immobilizes them more than they would be immobilized just for their disability. So if somebody is wheelchair bound and then they have a terrible back pain, you could imagine they can't really move well. Or somebody who can walk with a cane, but now they have a terrible back pain, may not be able to walk, and if they degenerate, they may degenerate even worse. How do we overcome back pain? Well, a few ways. One is learn about the muscles you never use. Start to use them, like your toe muscles. A great exercise for your toe muscles may come to you in my next message. But right now, think about strengthening your toes, about strengthening your feet, strengthening your back. And think about the discouragement that people have when they have back pain. The second part is loosening the muscles you always overwork. And they overwork because we use only between 50 and 75 out of 640 muscles that we have. And we overuse the muscles we use, and the connective tissue hardens around the muscles we use. And then the immobility becomes severe and complete. And then integrating between the muscles we never used and the muscles we always use. You do all that, and you can get rid of your back pain. Let me have you have Aryeh, who was a wonderful man, and a few years ago in a lab, he read professionally, although volunteering, the story of Naomi. Naomi Sunrise is a fantastic story. Time to listen.
Naomi Sunrise. One day I received a phone call from a man named Yosef, who told me that his wife, Naomi, had just tried to lift both of their twins and her spine had locked so that she couldn't move. Yosef came to our center to pick me up, and we drove 20 miles to their home. When we arrived, I saw stark fear in Naomi's face. Fear and pain were inseparable in her. She told me simply, "I cannot move." She was completely convinced of this. Yet I learned that she was able to get to and from the bathroom by herself. It caused her pain, but because it was a necessity, she managed to do it. However, the thought of changing her position from lying on her back to lying on her side, which I asked her to do, seemed impossible to her. Naomi felt great relief that someone was there to help her. I began to massage her foot. After it relaxed a little, I massaged her leg, then her abdomen, touching her gently and carefully. Her breathing was almost imperceptible at first, but it deepened as I worked. I then massaged her other leg from the foot to the abdomen, and although the pain was still there, she almost forgot that she couldn't move. She was then able to lie on her side as I worked on her pelvis and hips. After an hour, she could lie on her stomach to allow me to work on her back. Naomi's lower back was so tight that her contracted muscles felt like stone. In her lumbar region, 3 vertebrae seemed almost fused. I was able to feel the structural effects of her muscular tension. By the end of our 3-hour session, Naomi felt looser and her breathing deepened naturally. She was able to sit up, although with great difficulty. She had some release from her constant pain, but I knew it wouldn't take much for her to be in pain again. It was evening when Naomi's husband drove me home. I was exhausted from the session, and I went right to bed. But my sweet, soothing sleep was soon interrupted by another call from Yosef. It was 2 a.m. He was apologetic, but he told me that Naomi was in severe pain and asked if I could come see her again. I agreed, but I immediately fell back to sleep. An hour later, I was awakened by Yosef's knock at my door. He was quite nervous, smoking constantly and driving fast. When we reached their home, I went in to see Naomi. She was on her back again, her face rigid with fear. I asked her to concentrate on her scalp. I wanted her to relax through a slow process of visualization. I asked her to think about the roots of her hair and the skin that surrounded them, and to allow the skin to relax. Then I asked her to imagine her breath filling her skull, and to imagine the skull filling with nourishing oxygen. Naomi became aware that she was tensing her scalp, and she began to release it. As she concentrated on her breathing, it deepened dramatically. I slowly massaged Naomi's toes to relax her foot a little. After 20 minutes of massage, I could touch her foot firmly. She was breathing so deeply that she could feel her lower back expand with each breath. The tension in her foot was connected to the tension around the compressed vertebrae. In Naomi's foot, I could feel the pain she felt throughout her body. She gradually became aware of the source of her pain, the tension in the muscles of her lower spine. As she breathed deeply, her muscles deeply relaxed. When this happened, the pain lessened. Naomi's pain was emotional as well as physical. Feelings of helplessness, incapability, loneliness, and inability to communicate are common to spine-injured patients. I was now able to move Naomi's legs sideways, apart, and upward without hurting her. Moving her legs increased the circulation to her lower back, which was still so tense that I couldn't touch it. When I asked her to focus awareness on that area, the pain was unbearable. So I asked her to visualize her hands and feet instead, and to experience their sensations. Focusing awareness in this way tends to relax the area being focused on, and it increases circulation both to that area and to the whole body. I massaged Naomi's calves while she lay on her back, releasing many small points of tension in the muscles. I worked on her knees, one at a time, then her thighs, and then her abdomen. It was 5 a.m. when I started to work on Naomi's abdomen. A little while later, I looked out the window and saw the first red light of morning appearing on the horizon. I told Naomi, "It's dawn already. The sun is just beginning to come up. I wish I could go outside and get a breath of air." She smiled a little. She was feeling some relief from her pain by then, and she said, "Oh, I wish I could too," and sighed. She couldn't see out the window, which was on the wall behind her bed. Later I said, "The dawn is getting brighter, and some light clouds are moving across the sky." Her breathing deepened as she listened to my description, and she relaxed and was able to roll over onto her side. The first faint red light, which had scarcely been able to penetrate the gray of dawn, steadily brightened until it overcame the darkness and illuminated the whole morning sky. Seeing it through my eyes, Naomi became part of it. The beautiful sunrise renewed us both. Naomi breathed more and more deeply, and her pain diminished. The sky was almost light when her pain finally left her completely. "The moment of dawn is holy," Naomi said to me. Fearfully, but without pain, Naomi sat up. Then, finding that it didn't hurt, she slowly rose from bed and took 3 steps without tensing any of her muscles. On the 4th step, her back contracted suddenly. She nearly fell, but I caught her. I showed her how my back muscles would tense if I forced them to participate in the motion of walking, and how they remained loose and relaxed if I didn't. She felt how the different ways of walking influenced the muscles of my back, and she immediately grasped that the same process occurred in her own back. After that, she walked without using or tensing her back muscles. Naomi walked around the bed and stood with me at the window. "It's the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen, Meir," she said softly. All my hours of work had been worthwhile. I continued to see Naomi regularly for a year, and at the end of that time she was completely well. Her willingness to see the cause of her problem and to learn a new way of being made this possible.
In Naomi's case, like in many others, we can definitely see that patience and perseverance can overcome many, many problems. Specifically back problems. They could be very nasty. They could be very, very painful because they're a result of our lifestyle and they're a result of imbalance in the body. One thing that we should know is that being with a person is what we teach in our training course. Since we first of all teach the students in the training course how to be with themselves. That's a study for life. And that study can really change people and can change the world. Again, I think it's really, really important to talk about what Leonardo da Vinci said. He said, I've been impressed with the urgency of doing. That is so important. Doing is so important than simply knowing. Doing what you need to do for yourself. That is the thing to do for yourself, for your kids, for your parents, and for your clients. Till next time, your friend Meir.